She was very happy here, and her heart belonged to art. So she used art as a medium to help people express their feelings.
She was working in the community with Better Beginnings in community development, and she was looking for a way to give people a voice into inputting their ideas about what they wanted for the community center. And they were working on the Yes Space project to bring in people from the Anglophone, Francophone, and Aboriginal communities to collectively design the space. And so they were painting the building, and at the same time, it was creating communicative dialogues and building a relationship with the community.
J'ai eu la chance de travailler à Metsimiris, puis je pense que Gérald aussi était impliqué là-dedans. On a travaillé sur les dragons.
Oui, avec des artistes comme Daniel, Céline, Jay Malter, Heather Top. Je pense que c'était tout.
Ouais.
Et le jour c'était tranquille, puis le soir c'était fou.
On faisait des dragons avec les enfants, puis on a monté une parade. Puis, en tout cas, c'est une belle expérience. Puis moi, un peu plus tard, j'ai pu décorer à Better Beginnings.
Ah oui, les plaques.
Fait des plaques avec les enfants au mur. Ça aussi, c'était vraiment une belle expérience. Alors, c'est une belle occasion pour moi de travailler avec la communauté. Et j'ai commencé à travailler un peu plus tard dans le domaine des arts. Puis la communauté ici à Sudbury, mais je voyais Sticks and Stones, puis la gang de femmes, vous montiez plein de shows intéressants. Puis finalement, j'ai eu le privilège de travailler avec vous autres, avec la Giant Puppet. Je me souviens pas ce que c'était, là, mais c'était bien fun.
One of the best things that we did, I consider the best things, she made a wall quilt for Better Beginnings. And she got, I don't know how many women together, and I think there were some men. But I don't know if you've seen the quilt at Better Beginnings. But there's different blocks that were made by different people. And there's a center that nobody wanted to take on at that time. At least I thought nobody wanted to take it. So I took it on. And it was the Better Beginnings logo. And I did that, and she did an amazing job. She got it all together, and then when we were having a staff meeting at one time, her and Alan unfolded it, and we were, oh my God, what a beautiful quilt. We had a great big dream catcher and some material that everybody could write down what their dream was. And I was the one that would tie it on the dream catcher. And after they did that, they all got together. There were people on stilts, and there were people dressed up as clowns, and they went and marched. That dream catcher is still at Better Beginnings.
I first came to Sudbury in 1994, and I probably didn't meet Laurie until 1996, when the resistance to the Harris government was starting to pick up. And I do remember going to meetings of the Coalition for Social Justice, which was the main body organizing the resistance against the Harris government. I was involved in a campaign against employment discrimination. There was a lesbian woman by the name of Mary Ross who was basically forced out of her position at Loeb on Brady, and we organized a whole series of pickets and demonstrations. And eventually we wanted to try to do something more dramatic, and we wanted to actually organize a funeral procession around the death of Loeb and Provigo's ethics policy. And we contacted Laurie, and she helped us orchestrate this stuff with a small little coffin and a whole bunch of ways of doing this. It was really neat and exciting. And it was actually her doing that for us and helping us with it that gave us, I think, the guts to actually take that coffin actually right into the store and to do that type of disruption, which I think put far more pressure on Loeb and Provigo than ever would have happened in other ways.
I brought a whole group of people together who'd been working with us in some way, shape, or form, either with me, with theater, or Better Beginnings, but working on poverty issues. And we did a workshop with the Bronfman people around poverty using popular theater methods.
And so she created Myths and Mirrors, and it was an umbrella. It was a project of Better Beginnings, a program of Better Beginnings at the time. And we were told, or she had been told, that after a couple of years, once their funding was stabilized, she could go off and incorporate and become their own. And that's what happened.
We got 3 years of funding from the Bronfman Foundation, and basically the focus was working with people in the community to create whatever it is the people in the community wanted to create. The Ontario Arts Council was starting to develop their community arts program. We applied for and got a grant, one of their first grants around this programming, and this is when I brought Missy in to do, and that's when we did the show of hands.
That project was 450 people, 450 participants in it, and as it turned out, what they wanted to celebrate the mountain that they had saved and was, they wanted a variety of things, but then consensus brought it down to hands that would be cut out, and they would do a painting that represents their community.
But me and my husband and our granddaughter at that time went over on a Saturday and we traced our hands. My granddaughter traced her hands, my husband traced his hands. And all those hands that, I don't know how many, must have been over 200-300 people got their hands done. And on the wall, where the court is, the tennis court is at by O'Connor Park there, the young people put them in a circle, like they started outwards and kind of came waving in, and then they had a circle of hands, all sizes, baby ones, big hands.
I'm sure a lot of people have talked about the Hands Project, and it was a wonderful, wonderful program. You know, very intimate, working with the community and tracing their hands and getting very close, and people putting their hopes and dreams on their hand, on wood, and then kind of entrusting it to Lori and to, you know, the group of people, the group of artists that were working with her, and letting it go out into Sudbury. You know, they had mounted the hands first at O'Connor Park on the tennis court, and they were beautiful. They were complete, beautiful works of art, and people came along and stole them. So a lot of the hands went missing. It was very discouraging, but at the same time, they were so beautiful, people wanted them. So the hands were taken down and brought to the library, to the Mackenzie Street Library. So they're there now, and they'll stay. It's a permanent work of art there.
The hand project. The hand
Yeah.
project was
We were all
big.
involved at the hands, so I remember that
Yeah.
as well.
It
Just
was-
watching the whole process,
Yeah.
seeing it go up on the fence, which was magnificent.
And then to see it moved to the
Yeah, and
library.
after it got vandalized and people's hands kept getting stolen, it was like, ah! But on the other hand,
Slowly
it worked.
losing fingers
Yeah.
and thumbs and
Yeah,
And
but
then
it worked
also the-
really well as a community project though, because then the community had to deal with the reality, which was the vandalism. And instead of just going, oh, this is awful, and packing it in, they found a home for them at the
Yeah.
library, and so we still can see them today.
Lori asked me if I'd get involved in a show of hands. It was a project that was going to do video, document a community project, a cultural arts project, which Lori obviously is very good at doing. And it was an amazing project. It was probably the most interesting video, or the most extensive video I've ever worked on. And we watched the community just get totally involved in this project and watched it form and take place and over a period of a few months, and it was just exquisite. And luckily we got relatively good video of it, but we just watched them develop these wooden hands and also talked about how they saved the mountain. And by the end of it, I found myself shooting this amazing tableau of hands in a swirl all over this fence before people started to take some of the nicest ones away, before it went to the library where it was harder to take the nicest ones away. And Lori just seemed to be, she's always like in the background. She's totally directing things, but you never know it.
The whole community arts paradigm that was then starting to be developed mainly by the funders, but also by the theorists and the artists themselves, was around the whole idea that the artists couldn't present themselves as the experts in a community, that they knew the issues, they knew what the problems were, and then they were going to translate it into art and then educate the rest of us. The premise behind it is that we all are the experts on our own lives. We're all the experts on how social policies and political policies affect us. So therefore we should all be included in creating the art that expresses our lives.